You're listening to For Better and Worse with Jess and Rach.
What are you telling me today about my cycle? That I'm down bad? You're right. I am. I'm on day 4 of your period. Let's find out.
You're cruising out.
Sex hormones are at their lowest. which can make you feel tired and depressed. Accurate.
Hey, check.
Check. That's about it. As of right now.
Fair enough.
So, welcome back, everybody.
Jess, your birthday's coming up.
It is.
Next Monday?
Tuesday, the 30th. I will be 31. I'm an old fart, ladies and gents.
Happy birthday, Jessica.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm excited because my birthday's going to be really low key this year. As opposed to last year's 30th
Which we
Amish garden party. Was it not?
It was.
We were out in Amish country, but it was really cool. We rented an Airbnb. It was fun, but it was quite the production. Shocker. Just like setup involved. Like we did like string lights and
I didn't realize you strung those lights up yourself.
don't ask Joe and Britt about it. It was like fucking 90 degrees that weekend too. Weren't we sweating our dicks off?
It was hot.
Wild banshee. But yeah, no, this year will be very low key. I just want to get dinner and with, some loved ones and say my goodbyes. Just kidding. No, I want to. It'll be cool. I'm excited for it to just breeze on past and let's get into the fall.
I feel that.
Because your girl's ready. I'm ready for fall vibes. I'm not ready for the busyness of it all.
No, I'm glad that I said this to you earlier, but I purposely took like a lighter October, meaning we only have 2 weddings in October, but one of them we're going to Colorado for. And then I was like, we don't need to be doing the most after that. Our September is enough.
Yeah.
So I hope we get to enjoy some things, but I'm feeling the stress of the fact that I'm about to have a baby, deliveries. I gotta stay on top of my shit. That's for sure. But remember fall when you were in college? What that felt like?
Then the gross nostalgia that brings back.
It's 2014 fall.
Were we in Christian Girl fall? 100%. Our rider boots.
Scarts.
Big scarts and rider boots. Yes. I am really excited for fall though, but because I feel that nostalgia. College fall hit different, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah. And I mean, your college might have fallen at a different time, but those
were the days.
Walking Kent State campus, walking around, main character energy.
It was. I am so excited for fall, and I feel like we're near it. The end of August really starts to smell different.
What's your favorite fall treat?
I'm not going to say pumpkin spice latte because that is a basic B answer. I love caramel apples. I fucking love caramel apples.
Yeah, those suckers. They'll take all your fillings right out.
Oh, yeah. Those are good.
All the caramel apple flavored stuff.
Yeah.
So you got a good mix of the sweet.
You know what else I like? Apple fritters.
Ooh.
Those are really good, actually.
So you're an apple girl.
I never thought
an orchard.
But I love pumpkin stuff too.
Yeah.
Because everyone does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually met someone who was allergic to pumpkin. And he was like, someone asked him, like, it was at a wedding. He was another vendor. And he was like, yeah, I had to ask. He asked the catering company. He's like, oh, is there any pumpkin in this? He's like, I have to ask him, like, deathly allergic. And someone was like, you don't get to enjoy the fall things? He's like, that's the question I get asked the most. He's like, it's the most annoying question I've ever received. He's like, yeah, fall could actually kill me. We usually go to Florida in the fall. And I'm like, do you really? He's like, yeah, it's like just a scary time to be alive. Think about it. Pumpkins are everywhere. He's like, literally, if you touched a pumpkin, like went pumpkin picking that morning and gave me a hug, I would have a reaction.
What?
Yeah. I was like,
right.
Sounds dramatic, but whatever.
Dramatic. But speaking of allergies, we got Josh this like food sensitivity test because he's just been dealing with like chronic pain and like stomach issues and just like skin issues. And I was like, I
Let's
like
find
Googled
out.
it, found out this like called Everywell, not sponsored, but you know, paid full price, $200 or whatever it is.
We're never sponsored. Never that be a question for
But
us.
hey, let it be known, his food sensitivities.
What? Gluten,
No,
dairy,
thank God. Yeah, dairy, chicken.
which is what he eats every
Do
day.
you remember the 10 pounds of chicken a week? 10
Yeah.
pounds of chicken thighs a week conversation we had months and months
Yeah.
ago? Yeah, we were in a bit of a culture shock. Bell peppers, garlic, which we're kind of ignoring because
I'm not gonna eat bland food for the rest of my life. And that's just.
I mean, and it's just like, I'm not going to go to a restaurant and be like, is there garlic in this? Because, yeah, there is.
yeah.
You know? Every pasta sauce, garlic's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing we're working on cutting out is
Dairy.
Yeah. Oh, and barley, which is beer. So chicken, beer, and dairy.
Sounds like he's gonna be depressed.
Yeah, we're working through it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, we've been doing it for like a week. Yeah, about a week, a whole week, full week.
I think we all could benefit from limiting the dairy intake.
And I'm sure we're all like, I'm sure anyone who takes that test. I want to meet someone who's taken a food sensitivity test and dairy doesn't show up.
Yeah, I would too.
Because
I feel like it's just gonna cause inflammation everywhere. Like we know it's gonna make our skin break out. We know
like the
we
hormones they pump into those cows.
Yeah, we know we're gonna have the BGs as soon as we drink any type of milk. And BGs is bubble guts. If you don't know, we don't want the BGs. Okay.
I've been slamming milk lately.
Ooh,
Slamming milk
stop.
like it's 2006.
have you had the BGs?
No.
Ooh.
I just,
Clearly, baby likes the dairy.
well, it has been easy to consume, but I guess to update people is I'm not puking every single day anymore. Just a few times a week.
Huzzah!
Huzzah. We've reached that 16-week mark. So I feel like a person again. I'm able to work again. I'm not
Down bad.
It's just the evenings. The evenings got me down bad.
But fuck it. You just get what you need done in the
But
daytime.
guys, it's a girl.
It's a girl.
It's a girl baby.
Female femme.
Hey, we're excited.
Good.
We're hoping, and I got her genetic testing back, so you know she's clear of genetic abnormalities. Did I purely take the test just to confirm what her gender was?
Yeah.
Yes, or her sex, not her gender. Let's not go down that path. My sister's yelled at me enough for my slips. Sex, not gender. Gender is a social construct.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone.
If I think about it too hard, I'm like, wait, I'm mixing it up again. But I'm like, I just like, because it's so ingrained, you know. But
Yeah.
keep it correct.
Yeah.
But good, yeah,
we
we're
have a little girl here in February.
so excited. That's amazing. Gender reveal was a success.
It was. Jess was the secret.
Are we calling
holder.
it sex reveal? Or should we not be
sex
saying
reveal?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to say sex reveal or chromosome reveal.
Chromie revealy.
Chrome reveal. But Jess
Chrome
is the secret
reveal.
keeper.
I was.
And she got to go to my ultrasound with me.
What a great task. What an honor. Truly an honor. Yeah, it was cool to see little Bibby in there. It was fun.
And quick shout out.
Little bellies.
to Little Bellies Ultrasound Spa. I thought it was like some weird scam when I first Googled it. but
Because the location is scammy and just, it's weird.
it's above a CVS.
It's just real sketch.
on Cedar Road.
Not in the great, I mean, that's not a bad area at all, but it's just a weird area. But I'm telling you, when I say that this is luxury experience, it is. The heartbeats on surround sound, probably on some Bose speakers.
Yeah.
Better yet, Sonos speakers. And you have like a 90-inch fucking platinum screen TV in front of you for like high definition viewing.
And they do like skin temp jelly on your stomach, which
It's
is a nice
a
tip.
spa. It is a spa.
Yeah.
And if you are expecting or in the area of the Clee area,
There's one in Columbus. There
there's
several places.
They're spread out. Okay, well,
Check it out.
Shout out LB.
Because something that I think is really strange about pregnancy is like on average you only get like 2 ultrasounds your entire pregnancy.
So you
Which
don't
is like
really-
all that's medically necessary technically. But it is so fun to look at your child moving and grooving around inside of you.
It's a nice motivator for,
I truly, I found out who they were with actually my first pregnancy, because with my first pregnancy it was such a surprise. I was like, I want to see this thing and make sure it's real. But we know how that story ended. But I got to see the baby unexpectedly at an ultrasound, and then Josh got FOMO, so he wanted to see it, and so we let my mom see it, and it is just really cool to like be able to see your baby like moving, your little fetus inside of you, like they move, and like I'm at the point where like I can feel her now. They're just like butterflies, but I can feel like when she's moving around now. But it's so cool to be able to see, and it's cheaper than ultrasounds through the hospital. So, like, not after my copay, but
the more you know.
Hey, look into it, everyone, because it was worth it.
It is. It's a nice experience, even for someone who is just going for viewing pleasure.
Yeah, you and Madison.
They had a nice ass comfy couch for us to lounge on. Madison wasn't gonna sit. I'm like, sit your awkward ass down.
She's so awkward.
I'm like, would you just relax? She's like, I'm so nervous. It was cute though. But no, great overall. Little bellies, hit it up. If there's something like that, look it up, because those things exist. I just don't think people knew those existed.
Madison went to the ultrasound like, I'm gonna be able to tell what it is, right? I'm like, why? Because you did health technology classes in high school.
And here's the thing: the technician was like, I showed you like 3 times and you didn't catch it, so a little rusty,
Madison. But I don't know. I went back and forth on what I thought it was for so long, so.
It's 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
One or the other.
But the social interaction of the whole party. I'm not a party person. I just had a wedding. Don't ask me to do anything else.
Social energy is spent, but I will say it's hard to just mingle with everyone, especially if people are in different groups. Like, I get the pressure of it all.
Yeah.
It's just like small talk.
Friends, his friends. It's just
Yeah.
I could do without.
And here's the thing, honestly, because after you guys have the baby, it's just clearly I'm on my period. Your interactions will be more about the baby, so it's kind of like less awkward that you have to like catch up about like what's going on with you. You're just catching up with what's going on with said baby in front of you. So it's like that's kind of a nice little social kush.
Yeah.
Now we're not talking about weed.
A little social kush.
Social kush. That's funny. Okay, anywho.
Oh, Jess, this is something meaning to point out to you.
I'm not giving these feet for free. They were
no
out.
Free feet.
They were out in the video, and mind your business if you see them if they're not cropped out. But I'm covering them up because you have to pay for those. Okay.
Hey, Jess, nice pups.
Remember
when someone told me nice pups?
Yeah.
Hey, the internet's a wild place. But Jess, remember when I convinced you that I didn't know who the Lumineers were?
I don't even want to bring this up because
Meanwhile,
this is so
I sang
embarrassing.
every single word to Ho Hey at my wedding, and you just believed me.
You were being funny. You were being
I was joking. Our friend Negley,
Rachel, that's not funny.
Because he was photographing the Lumineers concert in Salt Lake City or whatever, and Jess was like, "Oh, that's great," and I was like, "Who are they?"
It's not even funny. You're a classic. Rach is not a jokester. I even talked shit to Joe. I was like, Rach?
Yes.
I'm like, Rach claims she doesn't know Lumineers. I'm like, what is she saying? I'm like, she mental?
What? That's like saying you don't know who Mumford and Sons are.
That's what I felt like. And you were like, I'm like, say dead ass. Like, say you're joking. And you're like, no, I seriously don't. And we were like, Spotify sent you a song. I was like, yo, this fucking song, the one you sang to at your wedding. She's like, not ringing a bell. I'm like, I'm done with you. I'm done texting back. I was convinced though, because I even asked Joe. He was like, wow, that's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard. And he's like, maybe something's wrong with her. Maybe she can't remember. I'm like,
amnesia.
Oh my gosh,
I was dying.
Yes, I do remember that.
I was down bad with the sickness, with my morning sickness, and I was like, I gotta feel something. Gotta feel a little something.
Let me pick on Jess. Let me feel something real quick.
Do a little lying.
Just to feel toxic.
Fuck around, lie a
That
little.
is funny. Well, I'm glad to know that you're not psycho or don't live under a rock. I believe that to this day.
Oh, I know very well who the Lumineers are.
Good.
So, you heard it here, folks.
She's a jokester.
How's your wedding season going, Jess?
It's going. It's going. I've had
slow.
Yeah, I've had a slow build, which is honestly I've been really grateful for. I had a lot of July off and kind of slow rolled my way back this month and had a little girls' weekend with my friends over this past weekend.
I honestly love seeing you and your friends together. Like
when
on your
I tell
stories
you
and stuff, like I don't get FOMO because I can't keep up with you guys, but just like seeing you guys just be goofy and wear trash bags and be weird.
We laughed so hard all weekend. It was so funny. When I tell you we get together, also my friend Danielle is 33 weeks pregnant.
She is
Just
tiny.
I'm sick of my friends looking like goddesses when they're pregnant because that ain't gonna be
Jess,
me.
don't worry.
That
Don't
ain't-
worry.
that ain't-
You've got me.
No, you were
I'm
not
gonna
even
be looking like a bridge troll.
I don't think so, Rach.
My mom and my sister, God love ya, but because of like my mom's school schedule and shit, my baby shower is going to be 4 weeks before I give birth.
ballooned.
You better be wheeling me in there or carting me in on a sled or a sleigh.
Keep it on theme.
Because I'm just like, yeah, that sounds great. Because what else are we gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and that's fine. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh,
Just
my
pretty
friends.
pregnant people.
Yeah. So weekend, something about going up to the islands, Put-in-Bay, Kelly's Island. I turned to another human.
And for those of you that aren't Great Lakes knowledgeable, there are these little islands that people actually live on.
Yeah, but it's
And-
more of like an adult playground where people just get absolutely obliterated and
Yeah.
just drink a lot. A lot of
You have to
boating.
get ferries.
Yeah. Luckily, Michelle's dad boated us over.
Oh my God.
We had a blast, roamed around the island, came back, and someone convinced us to do this like outfit of the day video, like to make it's like making fun of outfit of the day, and we were just being funny about it. Like, and Kimmy goes first, like, oh, TD. And we're on the ferry. This is us on the ferry, just really, really drunk. And Kim goes outfit of the day, and I'm like, I'll go after Kim. And so Kim does hers, funny. I'm like, oh, outfit of the day, pants, top shop. And I just bought this windbreaker from Kelly's Island because it was storming on the island, which was an added twist. That was really fun. And so I bought this like windbreaker. I'm like, windbreaker, Kelly's Island. And then I was like, good time, Kelly's Island. And like flashed my boobs on the ferry. And nobody's fucking knowing. It's just like unfazed. But it's this video where like one boob flops out and the other one does. I'm like, that's not even cute or hot. Michelle ends up sending it to everyone. She sends it to her boyfriend, Justin. I'm like,
Jess,
my tits are just out.
Jess, you do get naked when you get drunk.
I get tits out when I'm drunk, and there's no shame about that.
No.
And Joe knows this too. It's not even, he's like, you know what, Jess? I love that about you. You love to have a good time. But like boobs are boobs. You know what I'm saying? It's not like everyone's got them. Mine are a little saggier now that I'm 31, but they really flopped out. It was going to be like a flash moment, like, woo, you know, Girls Gone Wild. But it was like, it got stuck. It got stuck on my crop tops. It was like, dunk, dunk. I was like, ugh. But overall, good time.
In a weird twist of events, Madison was on Put-in-Bay for a wedding that she was photographing.
And I saw her on my way down.
That is so funny.
I love same
But
place, same
that
time.
storm, Madison was working overtime.
Yeah.
Just
I
with,
can't wait to see what comes out because it sounded like a cute wedding.
yeah, she killed it. And like the clients were great, but they grew up on Put-in-Bay.
That's cool. Cool
Like,
story then.
Isn't that insane? To
Yeah,
be like,
'cause-
we grew up here. I'm like, you just snowmobile around
How
everything.
fun though.
Oh, wow.
Weird. Gives like
I was
really
like,
small town.
I would really spend the entire time there being like,
What
tell
is
me
your
more
life
about this?
Yeah. What is island life? I'm
Yeah.
an island boy. I'm an island boy. Wait. Before I move off the topic of same place, same time, I've wanted to bring this up to you and to the pod friends to know that if anyone's experienced stuff like this, when and it's usually with my sister and I, when we take trips, we see this like family or this couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just, taking in your surroundings and you'll just remember people. We end up seeing them a day or two later at the same place.
Yeah.
Which is weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same place, same time stuff is like, what's going on? Is this a simulation? Are these the only people here? Does that happen to you?
I definitely know what you're talking about. Or there's like your hometown people that is like people that you see all the time, but you're like, I have no idea who you are.
I'll see you in Asheville, North Carolina on the same weekend I choose to go there. That seems weird. And like same bar, it just like, when did this happen to me recently? It wasn't Madison, it was something else, but it just happens to me all the time where I'm like, is the world really this small, or like, am I in the Matrix?
Like the like life's a simulation, because you're telling me all these people from Cleveland, Ohio are going to Palm Springs at 5:00 in the morning on a Wednesday.
Yeah. What's the catch?
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know. I just want to know if that happens, but it happens a lot when we travel. It's like, I see this couple, I see this family, and
I'm sure there's like coincidences. You know? Like when you're traveling, you're going to all these places. Other people go to those places, touristy. Like.
Yes, but some are just like so specific where we're at, and I'm like, why would they go here? Like, this isn't a touristy spot. This is weird. So I just want to know if that happens, because it's happened more than enough for me to feel weird about it. Like once or twice, you're like, that's weird. But I feel like it happens a lot.
I feel like those are things in life that I just accept. Like,
it's kind of cool.
It's gonna happen.
It's a cool life moment. But I also have this.
Are you traveling soon? Are you going somewhere for your anniversary?
No, not that we're gonna skip town. We just don't have anything big planned.
Okay, I thought you were gonna go.
We were gonna go to
Oregon,
out west.
Okay,
but I think when we do that, we want to go big, and we felt that
I'm gonna go next summer. That's gonna be my first vacay with the babe.
Oh, cool!
Because I used to live there, so I'm like,
that's exciting.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, so we're eventually gonna get out there, but we're not for this. I think we might go to Michigan or something around here, drivable. Maybe take the dogs. So we're still planning that.
Okay.
Does anyone else have like
that's in
commitment
like 2 weeks.
problems? I know.
So
does anyone else have commitment problems when it comes to traveling? It's like there's so many places to go, and if it doesn't go your way, you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, Josh and I literally leave to Palm Springs on Wednesday at 5 a.m, and I just like I can't think about it.
Yeah,
like I know what's gonna need to happen. Have I thought about like what bags I'm packing? Have I thought about what clothes?
But you're going there for work, so it's kind of nice to have this base of like, that's the main thing I'm gonna be doing. But when you go for not work, leisure, if you will, it's like endless possibilities, and that's too much for me. But Joe and I are good travel partners where we're like, you want to go out to eat? Want to go do this? It's nice having like a loose plan, but nothing like itinerary style. So nothing set in stone just yet.
Can't wait to see where you end up.
Me too. Might just
hey, maybe do a little searching today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just having some commitment issues lately. Just like sticking to things and having some problems.
Do you want to go into it, or that's for Mary?
That's for Mary. See you tomorrow, babe.
Our deepest, sincerest apologies to the YouTube community.
It's YouTube commune, and if you don't say it that way, you will be punished.
I went over to the camera and pressed play. It just didn't work.
We are rusty.
Hey, I'm really upset about it, but
I think the intro is too good to redo.
Yeah, I can't. I can't.
I don't actually
stories again.
I actually don't have it in me.
I can't tell Jess that I knew who the Lumineers were again.
Wait, can I tell you something funny?
Yeah.
That happened to me, and I was saving this for the pod. I just remembered. So I was shooting a wedding on the hottest day of the year, the same way.
Hey,
the same wedding you shot,
the swampiest.
I've never been sweatier. That's something to note
August
about this
6th,
wedding,
everybody.
And I am shooting at the art museum. Hot spot for photos. My least favorite spot for photos.
For bridal party photos, for sure.
Because first off, ain't no fucking shade. Ain't no fucking shade. And the marble is so hot. Yep. You're just
sun,
frying. You're frying. Okay,
yeah.
Anyways, enough of my hatred towards the art museum. I am waiting for my party bus to get there. I drove separately, waiting for my bridal party to get there. And I'm looking for, just kind of scouting some spots with my second shooter. And there were obviously other weddings there. And this one bridesmaid starts walking, and it was just so perfectly that like we're passing each other. So obviously I'm wearing a camera. I know she's in the wedding. I was like, I'll be friendly. I was like, hi. And she's like, Jess? And I'm like, yes. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, I really don't know this girl. I promise you I don't. And she's like, I'm Danny. I listen to your podcast. I'm a huge fan. I'm like, what? What? I'm like, this is so crazy. I'm like, I'm like, Danny, it's so nice. She's like, I've like written to you guys. I've DM'd you. You guys answered my questions before. I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, this is such a moment. I'm like, hey, this has never happened to me. I am not that cool in real life, but I'm so happy to meet you. And I thank you for listening. And she was just like, this is so crazy. It was just like such a moment. I'm like, I was spotted. I was spotted at the art museum by Danny.
Shout out to the person that Jerry of Ladies and Tangents was shooting a wedding. And someone came up to Jerry and was like, oh, I know you. You've been on For Better and Worse podcast. I love that podcast.
Even though Ladies and Tangents is like
hundreds of thousands of listeners.
And she comes up to Jerry saying, I know you from For Better and Worse. That's absurd. That's not even real. But anyways,
Jerry's like, yeah.
It was really funny. And Danny, if you're listening, that was amazing. You absolutely made my whole year with that. I was just like, I don't know how to act. I was like,
you were spotted in the wild.
And I was spotted in my own habitat with it was so funny. She was such a sweetheart too. And she's like, have the best rest of your day. She was so sweet. Danny, hello. If you're listening, that was a awesome mom. Anywho. Okay, what's up with you, Rach? I've been chatting.
I mean, other than just
being pregnant.
I'm trying not to make that my entire personality, but
do we think that's happening?
I don't know.
Let's not. Remember we said that we wouldn't be those moms?
I know.
We like made a pact. We were like, strong, independent woman.
I know.
And we're like, we love our kids, but we're still women.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of it is like there are things that like I'm putting into place, right? It's like I'm already contacting daycares. I'm already planning vacations. And I'm sure you mothers listening will be like, yeah, right, blah, blah, blah. But I just know like my friends that have had help put in place before they've had their kids, very different than people that are like figuring it out as they go. And so I'm trying to just do that. Like I'm trying to tell myself like, Rachel, the lifestyle you have, the job you have, the business you've built, you have to be present for that. You have to be available for that. You have crippling ADHD. You're not going to be able to do that and care for an infant. So, have the baby in February and I won't be shooting anything until June. So I'm taking that time, trying to do my best. And then I want to plan a summer vacay to Oregon, Washington area, because I used to live there and see some of my friends. It'll be like an accessible vacation. Like it won't be overwhelming for me to plan. Like I already know where I'd want to stay and, what I want to do.
Traveling with a baby sounds not ideal.
No, but you just have to do it. Like, and all my friends that I know that have done it, it's like the idea of doing it was worse than actually doing it.
I
the anxiety I held. Like Meredith is one of my best friends and she has 2 kids and she just took her like 3-year-old and 1.5-year-old like camping in Minnesota, like 12-hour car ride, like camping. And she was like, they were fine. And she's like strict schedule mom, like strict naps, strict sleep schedules. And she was like, it was great to know that like they are much more adaptable than I know they are because I've put them into like these schedules and these routines. And it was really good for her and her husband to be able to be like, okay, we can have a little bit more of a life than we've, allowed ourselves to have, because you're just so worried about your child's development and making sure you're doing what's best for them. Like I feel that already. Like that starts for, the baby carrier from the jump. As soon as you find out you're pregnant, it's like you stop eating things, you stop drinking things, you start feeling like shit, you start sleeping more, you start like doing all of these things to make sure you're doing the best thing for your child. And it's like that just continues, outside. Like, I just texted Meredith and I was like, how different can cribs be? You know, like there's all these different cribs. So like, can I just get one on Facebook Marketplace for, you know, like, am I going to miss something?
Mm-hmm.
Or some of them secretly painted with lead? Like, what don't I know? You know?
I feel like that stuff, the baby industry, has to be a scam. You can't tell me that it's not, because there's so many of the things.
I know.
And I remember even Danielle was like, I am so glad that I have mom friends that they just tell me what I need, because I get lost in this. Like, this seems like way too many fucking options for the same thing.
Yep.
And like, what do you mean the prices are like, you know, so different? So I can get lost in that, I feel like.
Yeah.
Anybody could.
Lost in the baby sauce. And it's hard. Like, I also think, like, being one of the last people to, well, the last of my friends to have babies, it's like, I think me 5 years ago would have been like, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the plan, and I'm going to have an unmedicated birth, and I'm going to cough diaper, and you know, like, I'd be, you know. But I know now, having friends that, like, had stuff like that, there's no plan. There's no planning.
No.
It is just going to be what it's going to be.
I think I'm going to be as take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Kind of guy.
But like, to a certain extent, you have to plan some stuff.
Absolutely. 100%.
Like,
I will make sure that I'm well equipped.
I'm on the fence about, like, the epidural or not.
You want to know my take? And I'm not pregnant right now.
Take it.
This is for me. Mine. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm saying for me, I feel like I already know. Give it to me. Give it to me hard. Give it to me right in the back. I know. No part. And here's what, this is my take on birth. And like I said, speaking for me, I know everyone's there. We've done this a million times. Babies are born every second. Everyone here in this room knows what they're doing, you know, except for me. Yeah. Like, I'm just going to do what you tell me to do. And I want it to be as painless and easy and fun as possible. And it'll be probably none of those things. And that's okay. But when I see videos of women like laboring and they're able to, I'm not gonna watch any of that. If they're able to get on all fours, if they're able to like move positions. When you get an epidural, you can't, like, because you're done. You're I
on
get
your back,
that.
You're just, you know. So it's like, I want to have the freedom to like move my body as I see fit. But I also know that, like, once I have the epidural, I'm not gonna give one shit. You know. So these are the things. It's like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's a
I'm
toss-up.
not going to have a strong ethos about it either way, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't like the whole, like, natural birth versus unnatural birth. It's like, it's all natural. Trust me. Okay.
Baby's coming out. Is that natural?
It's natural. All right. It's getting. As
honestly,
as it gets.
And from what I know and from stories and my friends, it's like anything could fucking happen. Be open. Yeah. That's the best you could do. And just trust that everyone here knows what the hell they're doing, and that you got a nice support system next to you. Don't really know if I have that yet. Joe will be fainting.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some strong backups.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I need my stand-ins. Mm-hmm. I need my fucking alternates.
I know.
No,
I think Josh will be great. Josh said, he's like, I'm not going to watch it come out. I was like, you better watch it come out.
No, don't. Please don't.
I want him to.
He'll never look at that badge the same.
Hey, it's going to be as big as a Ben and Jerry's lid down there. You better see the science.
My toxic trait is thinking that that's going to be easy for me. Why do I think my pussy can just be open like that? No rips.
Ooh.
Hashtag no rips over here.
All right.
I'm doing the pelvic floor exercises now.
Massage. All right. You better.
Not with the 2 fingers. Not the visual. Not the visual. I'm going to yoga my ass off so that I build this strong pelvic floor that I can just relax into it, and it just pops on out. Not how it's going to go at all. It's a toxic trait.
I've tried to figure out where I can do prenatal yoga. No idea. Just at home? Should I just do the videos at home?
That seems like you haven't done your research. I feel like it's everywhere. Every
I've
studio.
looked at a lot of schedules, and I guess it's like they're not like, you know.
Okay.
Like, I feel like every studio like closetly offers it, but I feel like Gentle Flow or anything.
That's what I'm saying. I think pregnant women just go to flows and just like,
in the instructor can like,
you know what I see?
You just can't get on your tummy.
Yeah, when I see pregnant women in classes, because now we're back to hands-on assist.
Yeah.
The teachers be giving them some extra love in child's pose, and I'm like, damn, that probably feels fucking good for you.
Yeah, I
just bet. some pressure off your back.
I know. I need to get back on like I don't want to be crazy out of shape to have this baby, you know?
Mm-hmm. Keep
But
your walks up.
For 6 weeks, I was down.
DB.
6 to 8 weeks down bad.
DB.
Couldn't. I was jogging. Nope. Now we're back to our hot girl walks.
Mm-hmm.
With my psycho dogs.
And you, other than baby.
Okay, guys, hold on. Josh says, I
This
gotta
just in.
piss. Dog's gotta go potty. Please take a break.
This just in, Josh Pridemore.
So, please hold.
BRB.
All right, babe. All right. Well, the dogs are here, everyone. So, the YouTube commune.
Back from our break.
Hope you enjoy it. Back from Josh's pee break. The dogs did not have to go potty. They were just bored up there because I wasn't up there. And I'm their favorite. Of course.
We did enjoy some honey barbecue chips.
They are good.
Snyder's are bust.
I know.
So good. And it has to be like the foil bag. If you know, you know. It's so good.
I went to RSVP for the baby Q.
Mm-hmm.
The sex reveal baby Q.
Don't you start.
Coors. No. Go be. Does anybody else's dog talk to them? All right.
Okay.
All right.
Where were we at?
I forget. You were talking for sure about things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, July. This is the July recap. What else has been going on for you in July? I maintained pregnancy. Found out the sex of our baby. We're about to go to California for a work trip.
Mm-hmm.
You went to Wood Bay.
Kelly's Island.
Oh,
Different. But still fun. Had a girls' trip. Shot some weddings. Sweat my ass off a lot. Back in cycling class.
Oof.
Which I love. I will become an instructor one day.
Yeah. Would you, if you were given a Peloton, do you think you would use it?
I've gone back and forth. I like the class setting.
Yeah.
I know when I'm being watched, and I know when I'm ready to show out. You know?
Yeah.
I know when people are behind me, looking at my form, thinking something.
Oh, my God.
That must be the Virgo in me. Thinking, like, I'm the best in the class. No, that's not true at all.
Do you know who else is a Virgo, Jess?
Who?
And it's just I can't. My dad. Like,
Yeah. There, it's a spectrum, like there's
Sure.
different ends of the spectrum, but I am finding out a lot of things about myself in my 30s. And this is my older age. Did I talk to you about this? Me being like, I was explaining myself to somebody and I'm like, I think that's just my script that I used to say about myself, Like there's a lot of things about me that are really different. Like, I don't know. I used to be like, I am laid back. I think I was just like this cool girl, but I'm like,
you're not as chill as you once thought.
There's a lot more to unveil,
Hey.
There's some layers. There's some layers coming out. And that's what I've been doing. Honestly, this summer it's been a lot of self-reflection,
Okay.
I'm trying to I know who I am, but I just think when I was explaining it to someone, I was like, those are the things I used to say about myself. That's sounds like college me. I'm not really like that anymore.
Yeah.
Like even on like wedding days and stuff, like I'm not that I am chill and laid back, but also like I am so like we got to get this shit done. I'm very assertive, and I didn't know that to be about like I didn't know myself to be that way.
Yep.
For a long time, but I would describe myself as assertive, like as like someone who speaks confidently when I need things done. So it's like I used to think I used to be nervous to do that or hated confrontation. It's like I'm setting some pretty good boundaries now. So who'd have thought?
Yeah. But shout out to San of Aaron and San, the DJs, because I worked with them and San and I talked because he is big into the stars. Big star guy. Big star friend. And
very knowledgeable guy.
He asked me if I was a Virgo. But if that's my rising sign. So that's how other people view me. They see me that way. And I was like, I could see that. Like, like on the surface level, like people think I'm type A. Like when we first started the podcast and all of that, like people would assume I'm a certain type of way because of the way I talk and because of the way like I want other people to view me. But I ain't.
You know what else I think is interesting? I've been thinking about this too, because I was doing my soul searching and thinking about people. And I'm like, we love to label each other.
Mm-hmm.
We love an explanation for the way we do things. And that's why we love personality tests and enneagrams and signs, and even further into signs, rising, moon. We love to know, because not only like if you aren't Virgo, you could be all these other things, which is your moon, and this is why you act this way. We love to know. But sometimes I believe things aren't that black and white. You know? Maybe that's me because I'm just this mesh of a million things.
You're just a Virgo.
Maybe
that's you as a
that's
Virgo.
so Virgo of
that
me.
Is so Virgo of
so Virgo of me to even think that. To even like, why would we overthink that? Anywho, just thoughts.
Yeah. Well, so our baby should be an Aquarius, which is what Josh is. And first I was worried about that, like having 2 Aquariuses. And then my mom's a Pisces, and she's like, you could hold on for 2 weeks. And I was like, over my dead body, we'll be holding on for 2 weeks to have a Pisces. But also then I realized I feel like I would have trouble parenting a very emotional child, which Pisces are known to be. Like that would test my limits. So I do think it's important to look to the stars in times of conceiving, because, you know, if I get a crybaby kid, I don't know what I'll do. Like, that's what I love about Eric, Madison's son, is like, he whines like any kid whines, but like him and I can just look at each other and have just a very serious conversation. Just, he's a Taurus through and through, and we could just look at each other. We can just have this conversation. It's like, even if he's not getting what he wants, we're not like,
there's a mutual understanding
down
behind it. So. It's like, I'm not gonna sob about it. I understand, and I might pout, but I'll do it away from you.
Right.
Yeah.
My sister is hearing me say this. She'd be like, I would take care of your emotional child. She's getting mad at me for saying that.
She's thinking it right now. She's literally texted it.
Yeah.
She's listening. And she would too. And that's why she'd be a great aunt. She's going to be a great aunt.
Yes.
Can't wait.
But something else I wanted to bring up, and I brought this up to Jess, and I thought maybe we'd do a more structured, episode about it, but we're not doing that. That's not what these monthly recaps are for. If that's what you came for, there's the door.
My Virgo would like a good structure, but we're loose. We're loose. We keep it loose.
Something that I've been noticing like crazy lately that is all over social media and like, whatever. I mean, it's not just social media, it's people's real lives. I just feel like it's breakup season. Like a lot of
relationships are going under.
Yeah. Like lesbian TikTok is
off the charts right now.
It's off the charts right now. But also like other influencers have, announced the end of their relationships.
Love is Blind. Love is Blind. Two couples.
Yeah.
Done and dusted.
Yeah. And you know what I want to do, Jess? I want to look to the stars. What's going on in the stars?
And here's what I think, because Love is Blind is different. All the other ones I'm not really sure, but that's the only one I could speak to. But that shit wasn't gonna last.
Did they have to get legally married at the end of the? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah.
No way. No way were those gonna last. Yeah, we can look to the stars, or we can just look at what were their problems.
Yeah, what are your issues?
I want to know. I want a bird's eye view and be a fly on the wall for their arguments.
Yeah,
so we can really dive deep.
But I posted this. We can do hard things with Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach and Glennon's sister, but Chelsea Handler's episode, which was about her breakup, which was from a couple months ago, but I just listened to it and I thought it was such a good episode. Even if you aren't going through a breakup or have never gone through a breakup, I felt like it was such a good episode to listen to, from like the type of place you should be to even get in a relationship. Like Chelsea talked a lot through like her journey through therapy, her journey through like discovering, who she really was and going through like this past traumas. And like I made Madison listen to it and we listened to it on the way to a consult together. And it, it's one of those podcast episodes where you can just listen to it with anybody and like talk about, but
it was like relatable.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea was speaking from a really deep place within her, but it was like, oh my gosh, it was just the journey of her going through all this therapy while being in this relationship, but like noticing, almost like watching it outside her body, you know, watching this all happen and then it coming to an end, but kind of from a really mature place. Like, we've outgrown each other, and you know, I'm going on this journey this way and you're going that way, and this is how it's got to go. And it hurts like hell, but
yeah,
she had nothing bad to say about him, and like there's no tea spilled.
I think just good.
It was just so, it was such a good episode.
But I do feel like, I mean, granted, you know, Chelsea is in her 40s, and I think relationships are different as you get to that age, because I think when you're in your 40s, like, I don't think she's looking to have children. I don't think she's looking, like, she doesn't need to get married. You know, like, all those things change as you get older. And versus, I think people in our age range, 20s to 30s, hold on to relationships longer because of the, like, lost time fallacy. This, like, I've already put in 5 years. If I quit now, I have to start over. I lose all this time. I lose everything we've invested. And I felt that a lot when I left my marriage, because I was like, we've been together for 7 years. I put in all this time. You're telling me I have to start over. I was 25 years old. So I had to start over, you know, like, but it felt like this, like, huge weight of, like, I couldn't, it took me a while to get to the point, probably a full year for me to get to the point of, like, I don't care how much time I lost. It's not worth any more of my time. But I felt like it was so admirable how Chelsea, like, was able to leave this relationship maturely. And I think it's, how do we leave relationships maturely? Especially when I feel like a lot of the time they're messy, you know, like, they become a mess because in order to, like, fix things, you just make things more of a mess.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're putting pieces together, but you spill the glue everywhere, and, you know, you lose some pieces and you can't find them, and you tear your house apart trying to find that piece.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so interesting how we can get to this place with any relationships, not just romantic relationships, but parents, siblings, all these things with, like, how can we accept relationships for where they are and leave them where they are when they don't serve us in the same way, like, especially friendships.
Yeah.
Like, friendships, I find, are, like, the messiest breakups, because most relationships, romantic relationships, have boundaries and rules. You know, like, you don't do this, you don't do this. Friendships are just a clusterfuck.
They're not clear cut.
Right.
And they never are, because you have those conversations with your partner, like, I don't like it when you do this, you know, and those are important conversations, and those are the boundary setting. But with friends, it's just, like, it's really gray, a lot of gray area that we just kind of, like, brush past because, I'll see him in a month, and you forget about it, and you come back and the problem's still there, and it's muddy waters. It's a lot of muddy waters. But I think that's really interesting, Rachel, you bring up, like, leaving a relationship maturely, because from my one bad experience with that, it was not like that. And I think I mourn that it wasn't like that, because I feel I'm at that point, but I could never control the other person's emotions. And it wasn't my responsibility to, but it was like, I could never get him to feel the way that I felt leaving this relationship, because I feel like it served an awesome purpose. And there's nothing bad about it. Like, it coming to an end is sad, but it doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to get toxic from here on out. Like, I get that, but it's like, it became really bad. It became like, now all the stuff you ever said about me, you just took it back and threw it in my face right at the end. For what? For what? For me to, like, that be my last conversation I ever had with you? I just think we spent all this time together with these partners. I just find it so bizarre when you just leave with such a bad taste in your mouth. And it's tough. It's tough to navigate.
And I, like, held on to my first marriage for, you know, like, I took my time. Like, I knew when I left that it was over. You know, there were moments in there for the first couple months where I was like, you know, maybe we could work on it, maybe, but you don't leave your house. You don't uproot your entire life unless you are pretty much dead ass certain, like, I don't want this relationship anymore. But a lot of my holding on and, like, not filing paperwork and not taking steps forward was because I just wanted him to get on the same page as me. Like, I spent so much time, like, an entire, like, a good 4 months of my life being like, well, remember this, and we can leave, and we can still talk, and we can be friends, and we can still see. And I mean, literally, as soon as paperwork I mean, I think divorce is different than breakups for a lot of reason. But as soon as paperwork got involved, it was like a switch flipped, and it was just like, we are no longer cool. We were never friends. We should have never been friends. Like, I wish this
Isn't
was just
that
like
great? It's such a switch up. You're like, whoa.
yeah.
We were just having sex a time ago. Okay. Do you remember how close that was? Okay. You weren't saying that shit to me before. And now you want to say what? I find that so interesting. But I think when you said being on the same page, I think during breakups, you just wait for that same person to get on the same page as you. And you won't. And sometimes you don't. And that really sucks, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a hard part for people to navigate, is just, you're like, I want you to feel the way I'm feeling about this relationship. But they see it differently. It depends. There's so many
It just sucks
factors too into the, we don't really know. It's just speaking generically, but
the reality is, like, what other people think of you is none of your business. You know, what
you're not
they
for
hold.
everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not for everyone, you know, and I get that.
Yeah.
But also, like, let's acknowledge that we spent a good chunk of time together and was a good.
And
there
you
were
didn't
some.
hate me for that time.
You didn't. You liked it.
Hey.
Believe me.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I think that's what I struggle with in past relationships. There's only one that really sticks out, because I feel like all my other past ones, they message me on Instagram, or you know, like a not like a DM, not sliding. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still
acknowledge that the other person exists
and like just
different
congratulate,
capacity,
or just be happy for them in this life. You know, you served a great part of my time. Let's keep it moving. But I don't know. I find that tough.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, sometimes, depending on when you break up, you know, like, I'm thinking about, like, my breakup with, like, my high school sweetheart. I think it was just, like, we were at two very different stages, you know, like, I was moving on and had gotten married basically 2 or 3 years after we had broken up. He's in a very different place. And so I feel like sometimes it's just, like, it's hard to cheer for someone when their success feels like your failure, or their happiness feels like your unhappiness. But I feel like when I was listening to Chelsea's episode, I was like, this is just proof of how important therapy is when you don't even know you need therapy. Something that Chelsea said is, because her brother died when she was young, like 9 or 10. And when she started therapy, her therapist kept bringing it back to her brother, Chet.
And she's like, yeah, I know. Chet said, whatever, keep moving.
Yeah. Like, if you bring this back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to leave. Like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And she said, she's like, if you think that your childhood had nothing to do with who you are now, you need therapy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I listened to this with Madison, who had lost her mom. And, you know, Madison, like, it's the same thing. It was like, how could that experience, which I barely recognized at the time as being a traumatic event, be the thing that made me who I am, you know? But I think starting therapy before you enter a relationship, so important, because relationships are triggering as hell. They will bring out sides of you that you did not know were there.
They're just, you're thrown into these complexes over and over of different things, you know, but you just, and how you react is so, it makes so much sense, you know, as to what happened in your childhood, how you were raised, how your parents fought, what were your parents, you know, relationships that have been modeled in front of you. You know what I'm saying? It's all coming out, and you're like, fuck. I'm the toxic one. Oh my God, I'm the toxic one. You know, and you're like, how did I get that? What part of me am I? Like, I look back and it's like, when was that modeled to me? Why am I acting this? What am I feeling this way? Why am I being passive aggressive? I wonder where that comes from. That's me.
Seriously.
That's me. I'm like, I'm being so passive to Joe, and I'm like noticing it, and I'll be like, well, that makes sense. That checks out.
Yeah, and
I'll
I
save
think,
that
like,
for Mary tomorrow. But it's true. It's like,
it's
eye-opening. It's not always the other person's fault either, is what I'm trying to say. It's like,
and before you get healthy, like, you don't know if what you crave in a relationship is what you need in a relationship.
Drop the mic
If
there.
you're in an unhealthy space, you know, like, there are certain things I crave in my relationship, but I would like to think I'm in, you know, been in therapy for a long time. I'm medicated. I've been divorced. You know, like, I think I know what I need at this point. But, like, before, what I craved in a relationship when I was in a bad place turned it toxic because it was coming from an unhealthy
that's interesting
person. Take a peek.
That's all we're saying. Take a peek in, and it's in the waters, guys. It's in the air. Breakups are in the air, and so we just have to come on here to
Have you heard of the
Remind
saying
you.
that breakups are contagious or divorce is contagious?
Yeah. Oh,
That
yeah.
is something the church would say, is that divorce is contagious. Because
you're hanging around with people who are like,
because especially in conservative church culture, like divorce is pretty rare
but it's the worst, right?
Yeah, it's just you don't see it, and especially like really, I remember Meredith's sister Claire left her marriage, and it was this eye-opening thing of like, I can do that. We can do that. We can acknowledge we were too young and we weren't ready and we weren't mature enough and we weren't good for each other, and we can acknowledge that getting married at 20 is a pretty bad idea. And not that like Claire leaving her marriage was the reason I got divorced, but it's this like,
if she can do it, I can do it.
Spark of like, she can do it, I can do it.
Also someone you can like relate to.
Yeah.
Similar, like, oh, she's very much like me. If you know, she's still living, like she's happier now, or she can do it and she doesn't die.
Yeah.
Like,
and especially in like friend groups or even like groups you're like remotely associated with, when someone leaves a relationship, you can then look and maybe you're talking about it in your group of friends, and you know, they bring up things like, oh yeah, he did this and that made me happy, or she did that, and you know, and you'd be like, hey, I think I might be in a toxic relationship, you know?
Yeah.
So I just think that's what's interesting about breakup seasons, is I feel like they unintentionally can kind of snowball into this whole thing, but maybe also the stars in retrogrades.
It could be the stars. I think it's contagious, but it's also like everyone is taking a peek. Breakups aren't always bad. That means that you're leaving something that wasn't for you, you know?
Right.
And that's honestly the optimist in me telling you that it's like, oh, we're on to bigger and better things. Like that that relationship didn't serve you, so you're on to find one that does. And that's, I mean, Chelsea Handler's story ended up pretty fucking great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sad. It's so sad. In that letter that she wrote to the public, to, wasn't it?
Yeah,
to the public to announce, was like a love letter. It was so, she spoke, I mean, she's speaking to the public, you know, and so she has to have a certain persona, but it was just so great. It's like, it doesn't have to be this terrible thing. And she knows she did what was best for her, and that what's next to come is going to be better. So,
and what I felt was awesome is like, it didn't like ruin her relationship with love or with relationships. It made her know that like relationships can make me a better person. I can be a good person. I enjoy them. Where
she,
I feel like a lot of time when you break up, you're like,
I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah. But Chelsea did say, she was just like, I was insufferable. She was like, you know, I never wanted a man to help me with anything. It was this person. She's like, he taught me that I was lovable, that, you know, I was capable of loving other people. And it was just, I like looking back on relationships and realizing all the good things that they brought, because if we think the other way, it's just, you know, you have to think that person added to my life in this way. Mm-hmm. And when they didn't, I had to move on.
Yeah. And I think being in a place of appreciation, if you can be, like, obviously not every relationship, you know, you can't, you know, abusive relationships, manipulative relationships, if you're dating a narcissist, like, these don't get to apply to you, unfortunately. But there are good things about who you were in those stages and who they were in those stages. But it's like the growth apart and being able to acknowledge, like, we weren't going to be able to be good to each other forever. And that's really what I felt when I left my marriage, was I was like, I'm going to drown. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to completely lose myself and be a shell of a person. To what? To stay married? Mm-hmm. It ain't that serious.
Yeah. It's not.
No. I mean, it is to some people, but to me, it was not. I was like,
I don't think it's worth losing yourself over.
No, never.
And shit's going to get hard. Marriage is hard. There are going to be times where ups and downs, but not worth. When you think long term, like, this isn't, like, I don't know. You know, when you know, you know. And that's when you.
Well, something that I thought was interesting, like, because I remember my first marriage, you know, walking down the aisle at the wedding being like, shit, like, we'll see. Like, I remember that feeling of like, we're going to see. Because I remember.
It was a big risk.
I remember knowing everything I didn't like about myself in that relationship, things I didn't like about my partner in my first marriage. And I remember being like, we're rolling the dice here and we're going to see what we can withstand. Like, there was no part of me that was sure.
Solid. No.
I was sure I wanted to make it work. I was sure that I loved him. I was sure of a lot of things, but I also knew that, like, there was a big question mark on, can I live with this forever? And I don't have that with Josh, but I do have the knowledge of knowing, like, if Josh picks up like a meth addiction, I'm not saying I'm signing on for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the relationship as it stands and where it was when we got married, there was no concerns. You know, like, I've seen a lot of Josh's negative and a lot of my negative, and I've seen those things. But I went into our marriage with the absolute certainty that, like, who we are in these moments, like, we can withstand that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say, like, if there was infidelity or addiction or things that come up, that I'm gonna fight for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Don't know until you're faced with it.
Yeah. Never
But I
know
think
until you're
I
faced
think-
with meth.
Yeah.
What you're gonna do?
I do think you're standing on some solid ground, though, Rach. That's what I feel like I got from
Yeah.
that with this. Where the other, you were like, classic case of we'll see. It'll
really
do.
was.
It'll do.
Yeah.
Ugh,
There was
scary.
I hope.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you know,
that makes me sad.
which I feel like, I mean, unfortunately, we see in some of the weddings that we document is, like, the hope that it will work out, the hope that, you know, maybe the marriage will change things or make them more mature or make them, you know, take it seriously. You know, I'm not saying, like, I've seen it lately, but I know that I've shot
Yeah.
weddings for people that I'm like, we'll see. Hey, we'll see.
We'll see. But breakup season is among us, guys. Let it be known.
If you're in a breakup season, let us know.
Let us know how it's going.
Yeah.
We'll check in with you.
Yeah.
We'll do a little mental health check-in. Talk about how you're managing. Sometimes it's good. I feel like we've had people message us being like, I took your advice and I ended things
Right.
and I'm so much happier. And it's like, fuck yeah. Good. Choose yourself. Do the
Yeah.
work. Go to therapy.
Keep listening to our podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Listen to Glennon
spewing.
Doyle's podcast. Listen to We Can Do Hard Things. 'Cause
Dude,
it's so
please. Also, you
good.
know what?
Walker walks.
It's just, I love them. I feel like
I do too.
they live with me.
Abby Wambach. Put her in my pocket.
I know. I love her. You know what else I've been listening to? Armchair Expert, which is like
Yeah.
the podcast, right?
I used
you
to
know.
listen to that a lot.
And I've just listened to the Drew Barrymore one.
Okay.
I just love. He's such a good interviewer, and
He is.
he's just the way we're talking about Dax Shepard. The way he lives his life, he's sober, unapologetic about it, and he just is so self-aware all the time. And it's not in a way to paint himself in a good light, but it's so honest, and I just love.
Yeah.
He's just so raw about it too. He's like, no, I totally think this way, and he's like, I'm dead ass about it, and it's just open and it's raw, and I think it's an awesome way to live. So I'm very interested. I mean, all the people that are on there are great as well.
Yeah.
But
I really do love that podcast. And that podcast specifically is the reason why, like, I don't consider us an interview podcast. Because I'm not
Are you
prepared.
kidding?
Like, not that I would compare myself to Dax Shepard in
I
any
think
realm, but like
it's a gift.
It's a different dynamic of a podcast where, like, we get emails every single week about putting different people on our podcasts from, like, different, you know, publishing companies. And I send back, I'm like, you know, because they're just sending out mass emails to all these different podcasts. But I'm like, we are not an interview podcast. Unless your person wants to travel to Akron, Ohio, we're not going to be doing that, because every time we've done an interview, it's been very difficult and we haven't enjoyed it. Like, it just, the flow is so weird.
I think it's a skill. It's a skill set that I don't think you and I.
No.
Not natural. I mean, like, anyone can interview anyone, but I think there's something about Armchair Expert or other interview podcasts, if you listen, it's just like you have that back and forth. Glennon does it too. It just is so natural. But I don't know. That's what I've been ingesting lately.
Yeah.
It's good. Good stuff.
All right, just as we're winding down from our July recap, what's your hope for September? You got any hopes? You want to manifest anything into existence?
Okay, yes. First and foremost, this is deep, but it's on the forefront. It's the first thing I can think of. I'm going speed round. Better body image for myself. I dyed my hair brown. If you can't see,
It looks so good. But I understand where you're at.
I'm warming up to it. There's a lot of negative self-talk that I've been having that I just want that to switch over in September. And sometimes it switches like a light bulb. So and I'm just hoping and manifesting that
you on
stops.
your period.
Yeah.
You can't expect that person to be woke.
Yeah. Am I ugly or it's another case of am I really this ugly or am I just on my period? So praying for that. Praying for an awesome fall season. I sound like my mom. Okay, for you.
Manifesting a continued healthy pregnancy. I think that's just something like, it's just a worry. It's just a worry.
It's always there. Like
It's
literally so on the front. It's like I'm not comparing pregnancy to tooth pain, but you know what I mean? Where it's just you never could not think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just
like, I hope we get to keep her. I hope that this happens.
Oh,
Like that, like complete and total, like there's nothing I can do to prevent anything bad, like from happening other than I've done,
Right.
I'm taking the pills and I'm doing the things and I'm doing
not
my
drinking
best.
alcohol. So
Not drinking alcohol, but it's just hard. So manifesting continued healthy pregnancy, and just being able to still find joy when I'm overwhelmed. And just get off the scrolling. The scrolling is getting
I'm gonna preach. I'm gonna piggyback on that.
It's gotten out of control the past couple weeks for me.
Just
read a book, bitch.
I have been reading. I got some books for if you want them. Joan are big readers now. But sometimes I still find myself scrolling. But what is that? That just brings so much anxiety.
I know.
God, I don't know. I've been trying to go on Pinterest more instead of like.
Yes, I do that too. But then it's like, how many baby nursery bullshit things can I look through?
Yeah.
Or weddings, because then I'm like, oh my god.
I've been investing in some education for the photog, so I've been feeling pretty inspired, and I got a little Pinterest board going for some inspo. I'm feeling good about fall. I'm feeling good about my work. Just
as you should.
Gonna go with that.
Good. Yeah.
Good. I love a little manifestation. I love the ending.
Yeah. We should probably do that more.
I think we should because I think that's fun. Like, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, cheers to that. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Thank you guys for listening and thank you for catching up with our monthly episodes.
Yeah.
Thanks for your patience as we figure our life out.
Survive.
Yeah.
Survive, thrive, and pod when we can.
And for that, we thank you. This is for Better and Worse Podcast. I'm Jess.
I'm Rach.
And we're out of here. Bye.